Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be going over the MLB slate on DraftKings for Tuesday, September the 4th. We do have a full 15-gamer tonight. We've got a lot to talk about. There are definitely loaded pitching slate. It's a loading pitching slate. Got a lot of pitchers to talk about. A lot of stacks I like as well. At least stacks I see I'm probably going to be heavy on. So don't want to waste any time. Just make sure you guys drop a like on the video. Really do appreciate it. If you're new to the channel and you have not subscribed yet, make sure you click that subscribe button down below. I would appreciate it as well. But yeah, let's go ahead and look at pitcher today. We do have 4 options that are 10K or more. Got Justin Verlander, Mike Clevinger, J.A. Happ, and Rich Hill. Now just looking at these 4 guys, I do have interest in 3 of the 4. Verlander, Clevinger, and Hill. I don't think I'm going to have much exposure to J.A. Happ today. Oakland's just been so good. Their team just in general has been so good. They haven't been striking out that much. They've been hitting the ball really well. Happ at 10-4, I think I can get away from today. Justin Verlander, though, we'll start off with him. I do like Verlander here at 12-3. That's a relatively cheap price for Verlander. We usually see Verlander like 13K, 13.5. 12-3 is a nice price. He's at home against the Twins, a team that Verlander can definitely have some success against. He can get some strikeouts here. When he did face the Twins earlier this year, for what it's worth, he put up a solid outing, 7 innings, 7 shutout innings, only allowed 4 hits. Did post 9 strikeouts, got the win, 34.8 DK points when Verlander last faced the Twins. Do like Verlander here, but I like some of the expensive bats on this slate, and I can't really fit them in with Verlander, so I'm kind of looking for some savings. I like Clevinger as well, but I don't know if I get enough savings going down from Verlander to Clevinger to where I'd want to play Clevinger. The guy you get a lot of savings though with is Rich Hill. Get $2,000 or over $2,000 in savings going down from Verlander to Hill. And this is a really good matchup for Rich Hill. He's facing a Mets team that really struggles versus left-handed pitching, has just been one of the worst teams versus lefties all year. We'll look at the Mets' implied run total and their projected lineup for tomorrow. It's a bad lineup. It's a low implied run total, just 3.1 runs. A lineup that definitely has strikeouts versus lefties, especially when you get down to the bottom. With Jason Vargas on the mound for the Mets, you would think the Dodgers can give Rich Hill some run support here. He is a minus 202 favorite. I really like Rich Hill. He's been pitching deep into games lately. At least just as of late, we've kind of seen his pitch count rise, especially against Seattle. He did throw 111 pitches, which we love to see. That's always a concern rostering these Dodgers pitchers because with Dave Roberts as the manager, these guys can get pulled rather early. Hill's last 2 starts, 90 and 89 pitches, not as great, but definitely like to see that he's going 6 innings. He's gone 6 innings in 3 of his last 4 starts, and probably the only reason he got pulled after 5 innings was because he was struggling a bit versus Arizona. But if Hill's pitching well here against the Mets, he could easily go 6 innings with 8-9 strikeouts, get a win, easily put up 25 to 30 DraftKings points. I don't think Verlander's going to go out and put up like 40 today, so for that reason, I think I can take the savings off of Verlander and go down to Rich Hill at 10K, who I really like. Then at SP2, this is a guy we've been on a lot this year. It seems like this matchup as well. Robbie Ray, just 8,900 for Robbie Ray seems too cheap when he's facing the Padres. Robbie Ray's been pitching better as of late, been getting more swinging strikes, just been getting more strikeouts in general. Last start against the Dodgers was pretty good for him. 9 strikeouts through 5 1/3 inning, only allowed 1 run, which came off a home run, 4 hits, 28 DraftKings points in his last start versus the Dodgers, a tough matchup. Against Seattle, a somewhat tough matchup as well, 17.9 DK points. And then obviously the start before Seattle was against the Padres when he really struggled, just 5 DK points. Robbie Ray's probably going to be high owned again today. I don't mind fading him in tournaments. I think fading him in tournaments actually makes sense. But for cash games, Robbie Ray could easily put value on this salary. And I do like him in cash. In tournaments, if he's going to wind up being one of the more popular pitchers on the slate, I could see wanting to fade. If Robbie Ray's going to be low owned though today, I would definitely want to go heavy on him because this is a guy that just has so much upside. And in this matchup versus a Padres team that we know strikes out a lot versus lefties, Robbie Ray's upside is through the roof here. So 8,900, do like pairing him with Rich Hill. That still leaves you over 3,800 remaining per player for your hitters. But we'll quickly talk about some of the other mid-tier pitchers on this slate. You do have German Marquez pitching in Coors today. Marquez has actually been pretty good in Coors. You can definitely play Marquez today. I don't love his price. I wish he was cheaper. But at 9,300, Marquez has been really good lately. He's been getting strikeouts. The Giants are not a good offensive team. Even though it's in Coors, Marquez has shown that he can pitch in Coors. So I don't mind him if you want to play him at 9,300. But that's like the 8K range. Those are really the only two guys I like in that that high tier, just above or just below 10K. Marquez and Robbie Ray are kind of the two guys I like there. So looking down to this cheaper range, Jake Arrieta's facing the Marlins, but Arrieta's just been so bad lately that I don't really know if we can trust him, that we really want to go there. So if we look for some value, some really, really cheap options, maybe like Lucas Giolito. Giolito's actually been somewhat good lately. He's been improving. He does get a good matchup here against the Tigers. Giolito's cheap as well, 6,300. You could go to him if you're really just trying to punt this position. I don't know if I'll be doing that just because I don't know if I can really trust Giolito. But he has been better as of late. In his last start against the Red Sox, he went out and performed pretty well. I was pretty high on the Red Sox that day. Actually, it kind of did work out because they got to the bullpen. But Giolito, when he started against the Red Sox, was pretty good in his last start. And like I said, he's been improving lately, and he's getting a good matchup today, and he's cheap, so I could see wanting to play him. But those are really the only value plays I like. There's not a lot of value I see at pitcher that I'd really want to go to that I feel like I'd be heavy on. So like my favorite sort of cheaper options are probably Giolito if you're really trying to go cheap, if you just want to punt this position. You got Arrieta against the Marlins. I don't love that though. But like Robbie Ray, Marquez, those are kind of the cheaper options I see in that mid-range that I like. But now let's talk about some bats. We're going to first start off at second base where there's a really cheap option I like here. Joe Panik should be leading off in Coors today, and he is in incredible value here at 3,400, especially if you're playing cash games today. You should have Joe Panik in your cash lineup, in my opinion, just because leading off in Coors for 3,400. I know Marquez is good. He's not really a pitcher I want to stack against, but I'll definitely take a few one-offs here, maybe like a little mini stack. If you want to play like Panik, Belt, maybe Longoria, that little three-man stack, I don't mind that. But really like Panik here, 3,400. It feels like this dude really does well when he's in Coors. I know in past series against the Rockies in Coors, he's done really well. So I like Joe Panik here, especially if he's leading off. I think he makes a lot of sense at second base for a cheap value play. And then my next option in shortstop, love this play as well. Tim Anderson in this mid-range, definitely a guy that I love today versus Francisco Liriano. This White Sox stack is a stack that I'm going to be very heavy on today. I just don't believe that Liriano is good. I want to stack up against him every time that he's on the mound. So the righties from the White Sox, Lamar, Tim Anderson, Garcia, Davidson, that 1 through 4 is a stack that I'm going to be pretty heavy on today. It's cheap as well. You got Lamar, expect to lead off for 3,400. You got Anderson for 4,400. Davidson, a guy that has a lot of power, 4,400. Liriano just really struggles with righties, gives up power to righties. So this White Sox stack feels like it makes a ton of sense today, especially with these cheap prices of some of these guys. And Tim Anderson, just been hitting lefties really well this year. Should be batting at the top of the lineup versus a lefty. Just a really good play in general. Guy that has a lot of upside. He's got power. He can steal bases, has a ton of speed. So if he gets on base versus Liriano, we could see him running and attempting to steal. So at shortstop, Tim Anderson, definitely one of my favorite plays there. And then my final play, obviously going back to Coors, we're going to want some exposure to Coors today, especially from the Rockies side. I do like the Rockies today versus Derek Rodriguez. Rodriguez, he's going to struggle here. He's having to go into Coors Field. Rodriguez is used to pitching a lot of his games in AT&T, which is a great pitcher's park. Now he's having to travel to Coors, one of the best hitters' parks. So I like the Rockies here. They do have a 5.7 implied run total, I believe. Yeah, right now, as I'm recording this video, a 5.7 implied run total for the Rockies. Love the lefties here. Rodriguez does give up hard contact to lefties. So Charlie Blackmon at 5,400, if I can fit him in the outfield, I'm going to have him in a ton of lineups today, especially if I don't play some of the top options. If I go with maybe a Marquez Ray lineup or a Robbie Ray Giolito lineup, I'll have a full Rocky stack with a lot of these expensive bats, especially Charlie Blackmon. Dude just hits righties really well. At home, he hits righties really well. And Derek Rodriguez, having to travel to Coors Field, getting him out of AT&T, really like the Rocky stack here, like the lefties. And obviously Blackmon, definitely a number one priority for me at 5,400 in the outfield. So yeah, guys, these are my 5 plays for today. Rich Hill, Robbie Ray, Joe Panik, Tim Anderson, and Charlie Blackmon. Now we will quickly go over some of the stacks that I like today, some BVP plays as well. So obviously my top stack is most likely going to be the Rockies. If I can fit them in a lot of lineups, I'm going to try and fit them in. It's going to be hard to play them with the top pitching arms, so that's probably going to be why I don't have a ton of exposure to the Rockies. But if there's some lineups where I fade the top pitching arms, then I will definitely have Rocky stacks. But looking for like cheap stacks, that's where the White Sox come in hand for me. White Sox, when it comes to value stacks, a team I love here versus Liriano. With a 5 implied run total versus Liriano, I think the White Sox, one of my favorite stacks as well. You've got this game in Texas between Heaney and Minor. Pretty good hitting conditions, 84 degrees, 67% humidity. But these are two pretty good pitchers. But you do have some value here you can get from this game. You got David Fletcher, who is projected about second versus Minor. In a good hitter's park, he's only 3,500. Cole Calhoun, even though he's versus a lefty, you could still play Calhoun. He's been hitting the ball really well lately. Don't mind going to that game for some bats, but the White Sox, the Rockies, those are the two teams I really feel like I'm going to be heavy on today. The Dodgers are facing Vargas. We know Vargas, he tends to struggle versus righties. I know he's been improving lately. He's been better as of late. But there are just so many good hitters in this Dodgers lineup that can hit lefties well. Dozier, Machado, Turner, Kemp, Kike, do like the Dodgers stack, especially if you're playing like the late night slate, then the Dodgers should definitely be a priority for you. But even on the main slate, I'll probably have a Dodger stack in at least a couple lineups because I just don't believe in Vargas, and I definitely want to pick on him when he's on the mound. So I like the Dodgers, White Sox, obviously Rockies as well. But yeah, I think that's it for stacks, at least the stacks that I feel like I'm going to be heavy on. So let's move on to BVP. Look at some of the BVP plays on this slate. Some guys that have done well in the past versus the pitchers they're facing today. There are a lot of BVP plays since it is a 15-game slate. If you want to look at all of them, you can pause the video right here and scroll through them, but I'll just quickly cover the ones with about a 20 at-bat sample, so that way we can get through it rather quickly. So starting off with Yan Gomes, he's gone 10 for 26 with 3 home runs versus Danny Duffy. Nick Markakis, 11 for 29 with a home run versus Rick Porcello. Wellington Castillo, gone 7 for 22 with 2 home runs versus Liriano. Not sure if Castillo is going to be in the lineup today versus Liriano, but if he is, I don't know what his price is. I'll look it up real quickly. I feel like he's pretty cheap. I know he's cheap on FanDuel. Wellington Castillo, $3,900. That's sort of expensive. Not really want to pay that price for a catcher. But I know on FanDuel he was $2K yesterday. He was minimum price. I wouldn't mind playing Castillo on FanDuel, even though you don't have to play a catcher. If he's $2K versus Liriano batting 5th, 4th, whatever, I love Castillo as a play today at catcher. But yeah, 7 for 22, 2 home runs. Has hit Liriano well in the past. Joe Mauer got some pretty big sample size BVP versus Verlander. 26 for 79 with 4 home runs. Let's see here. Will Myers, 4 for 18 with 2 home runs versus Robbie Ray. Jonathan Lucroy, 7 for 19 versus J.A. Happ. And then lastly, down at the bottom here, Robinson Cano has gone 8 for 26 with 3 home runs versus Alex Cobb. So I think that's it for BVP, and I think that's it for the video, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy the video, and hopefully it did help you. If you enjoyed, before you get out of here, I would really appreciate it if you would give the video a like. And if you have not subscribed yet, if you're new to the channel, make sure you click that subscribe button down below, so that way you won't miss out on any of my new videos. And if you do have any questions, feel free to hit me up on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT, or you can leave a comment down below, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and good luck tonight on this 15-game slate. Peace.